Thank you so much for coming to our studios.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
I'd like to start with the U.S. as you're in the United States, in New York City for a couple of days. As you know, the focus is the U.S. debt ceiling. And this morning, Ayan, PIMCO's high-level executive, said that U.S. is vulnerable to downgrade, but it may avoid the default. Do you think it is possible?
Well, I don't know whether U.S. can default, because everybody believes that this is a bulwark of financial strength. But definitely, deficit has to go, because it's to narrow. It has to become smaller and smaller, but whichever way you can do.
You've been all over the world traveling, also talking to foreign investors, foreign banks, and I'm sure many other high-level executives. What do they say? Are they worried about the U.S. political system, economic system?
It's a present situation, financial crisis, and then on top of the deficit and the debt situation. Yes, it worries, because if U.S. tilts a little bit in the economy, the whole world kind of moves in the direction of falling apart. So that's very important that the U.S. economy remains strong, so that the world economy can draw its strength from that. So that way, whatever happens in the U.S. impacts on the whole global system.
Because there's also no alternative, I guess, to the United States, they think, right?
Yes, also at this time, while we are considering all this, the one issue that I bring out, this is the crisis period in many ways, in many directions. This is also an opportunity to redesign the system, because we shouldn't just worry about how to get out of the present trouble and move on with the life again. That would be a short-term solution. We need a long-term solution.
And what is your solution? What
My
is your
solution
suggestion?
is several things. One of them is redesign the financial system itself. For example, from my side, what I see, one particular aspect of financial system, it denies access to huge number of world population. Almost 2/3 of the world population cannot receive the financial services from the institutions that we have built over years, banking system and so on, the insurance and everything else. Why don't we create a financial system, make a beginning of it, to make it an inclusive system? So there's not the privileged few, it's not the big corporations which will enjoy the benefit of having a financial system. Everybody, even the beggars on the street, has the same option to receive the services. And we have shown that Grameen Bank became known because we created a system where you can lend money to even to the beggars. And it works very well. It's not that something you heard or done it in a kind of token way. It's not a token. Grameen Bank operates everywhere in the world, including the United States. It's a rich country, poor country, small country, large country. It doesn't matter, because people need the financial services, and that is missing. Another one, to redesign the whole concept of business. Today, all businesses are supposed to make money. These are all profit-centered activities. I said the idea of business can be used to solve problem too. But we have never done that. So we have interpreted human being as if human beings are money-making machines. We are not money-making machines. We are human beings. We are multidimensional. We make money. At the same time, we want to solve our problems. And we are selfish. At the same time, we are selfless. We are using the selfish part of us to create the business that we know. We are not using the selfless part of it. I said we can create this business on the basis of selflessness. These will be non-dividend companies to solve the problems of the world. And we created many of those in Bangladesh and many other countries now. And that's what we call social business. It's a non-dividend company to solve the problems of the world or people, whatever it is. It's poverty, environment, healthcare, and everything is a problem. It's accumulating. But we can design business to solve all this problem, because businesses have an enormous amount of technology. But this technology is used only for making money. If you use this technology to solve problems, these problems can be solved very soon, sooner than we think. So that's where we need the linkages and the concept of business. So we'll be living in a two business world rather than one business world, so that it becomes a more balanced thing. So this is the kind of thing we should be incorporating in our framework of economic thoughts.
Talking about poverty and the balanced solution, when you won the Nobel Prize. You were the first Bangladeshi and the third Bengali to ever get a Nobel Prize. And after receiving the news of the important award, you announced that you would use part of this share of $1.4 million award money to create a company to make low-cost, high-nutrition food for the poor, while the rest would go towards setting up an eye hospital for the poor in Bangladesh. Today, there was a report from the USDA food price forecasters. They said that the food prices will keep rising in 2012. They say that price levels in 2012 will hinge significantly on weather conditions in the American Midwest during the remainder of July into August and also September 2011. How about the remainder of the world? We're talking about the US. But how about
imagine what terrible things will happen if the food prices keep going, because it's not only a financial crisis, this is also a food crisis.
Yes.
And it's going on, it will become worse. That's what you just said.
I wanted to ask you, because
yes.
you're also the winner of the whole food prize.
Yes, indeed. And also energy crisis, that is still going on. Environmental crisis, that is still going on. So many crises at the same time. It's not separate crises in separate country. It's a crisis, global crisis at the same time, simultaneously. So these are not isolated incidents. These are coming from the way we designed our life, designed our system. And that's where we have to go back and redesign it so that we can get out of all those problems, energy crisis and food crisis and so on. So we need to address the basic issue. We are at the uncertainty of weather, we are uncertainty of nature, earthquakes and floods and cyclones and so on. At the same time, one drought, one flood can destabilize the entire food situation in the whole world. If the drought in key countries misses out or pushes one crop out of production, and the whole world will be in serious crisis. And it's not relate to only food crisis, it will relate to political crisis and other things. So we have to be very careful what we do, how we design our system. We have to address these issues in a way we find a permanent solution.
How about Europe? One after another credit rating agency has been cutting down the credit rating of Greece. And Moody's cut it down to CA, and it's saying that it's a bad example to the other Eurozone countries. What's happening really, actually, in the European countries?
It's just showing up all the bad things happened in the economy in the past, increasing the debt burden of the state and so on, and having no capacity to pay it back. And now banks got involved with it because they financed all these projects that the government has undertaken. So the government is not in a position to pay back.
The Stability Fund found a solution. Do you think it is a good solution?
It's a beginning. It is a crisis situation, so you have the bailout situation we have to do in the past also. But this is, again, I would say it's a short-term thing. It's whether it's right or wrong, you go and do that right away. So that it doesn't kind of take everything apart, so that it's still Eurozone can remain a Eurozone. Eurozone doesn't get shattered. So that's a very important aspect of it. At the same time, to see how do we get out of it in a permanent way. What kind of rules and procedures we leave for ourselves. At the same time, conceptually, where did we do wrong things? So that it's always coming out. It's something, little thing happens, it blows up. Mortgage crisis came, it got into a financial crisis. Financial crisis came to one country, it became a global crisis. What did we do wrong? What is it will stop us from not having that kind of crisis even to be created? If it is created, it can immediately get resolved rather than wait for a global explosion of that crisis.
Well, global explosion, and you are one of the world's most influential elite. You were named among the most desired thinkers the world should listen to by the FP 100 in the December 2009 issue of Foreign Policy magazine. What does the world listen to? What do they ask you?
Well, ask the same question you're asking, and I'm trying to say that, look, there's this different way of doing things. Today, lots of things has to be different because we are capable of doing it in a very different way because technology helps us a lot. We have lots of creativity at our disposal. Our institutions don't have to remain the way they were, which was designed many years back. So why don't we redesign to suit it to the 21st century and using the technology of it? Banking doesn't have to be the same old way banking. Today, banking can be provided through technology. And if it's provided through technology, why can't we of bring the poorest person into the system.
Do you have a model for that?
Yes, indeed, because there are many practices now, but it's not coming into the mainstream yet. Why don't you do it in the mainstream in that kind of situation? And similarly for food crisis, how to bring the state-of-the-art technology which exists in the world to bring it to the farmers level. How do you do that? How to improve the marketing system of the agricultural produce, storage of the agricultural produce and trading of the agricultural produce and so on. So to use the most modern technology of doing that and new concepts of doing that. This is what the most fundamental issue. Rather than just try to improve whatever we have, an improvement can go only by 5% and 10%. It doesn't dramatically change everything. In order to achieve dramatic results and making sure that remain in that level, at that level, not deteriorate again, we have to redesign the conceptual framework.
Which brings me to my last question, Professor Yunus. By the way, my son's name is Yunus too, so I'm honored to have a Nobel Prize winner, plus your namesake. Professor Yunus, you and the bank won the 2006 Nobel Prize Award. And in 2006 we're talking about. And you've been the leader to initiate the microfinancing. And as you said, to give the opportunity to the agriculture, to the producer who couldn't afford to get any credit, and you became a model to the whole world. What happened in March? What happened with the bank in Bangladesh? Can you tell us? And where is microfinancing going? What's the future?
Well, future is this has to become part of the formal financial sector. It should become mainstream. In Bangladesh, it is spread all over the country. Almost 80% of our poor families are connected with it. And they are making lots of changes in their life because the finance is available to them. And they are putting savings into it. Grameen Bank alone has 8.3 million borrowers. 97% of them are women. It is self-financed. Money comes from within its own system. It takes deposit and lends the money to the borrowers from the depositors' money, so that we don't have to depend on government money or international money or donors' money or any kind. And that idea has spread all over the world. Even it's done in Turkey. It's all over Turkey. Grameen program is working. It started in
It's global, even in the city, in New York.
States, in the New York City. There are 4 branches. We're doing it in New York City. We have over 5,000 borrowers in New York City, all women. Average loan is about $1,500. Repayment is 99.3%. Same way, no collateral, no guarantee, no lawyers in our system.
How is it in Turkey? In Diyarbakir, you said it initiated.
It started in Diyarbakir, but gradually spread all over the country. Professor Aziz Akul was the one who led the whole thing. He took the initiative, came to Bangladesh, and wanted to start in Turkey, and he's been doing very well. And Prime Minister is behind it. He supports it very strongly. I have visited him and also the programs in Turkey. And it's expanding very fast. And so it's everywhere. It's needed. But how to make sure that we reach out to all the people who need it, not just a small number or a fraction of that, which is the case right now.
Yes.
How to expand it. So this is the challenge that we have. Finance plays a very important role for both men and women. And particularly for women, because immediately her situation changed completely, and she wants to bring her child in a way they will be able to take care of themselves in much efficient way than they did before.
And in Bangladesh, so did political interventions, actions happen in March? And
yes, it's some problems we have in Bangladesh. Hopefully we can overcome soon.
Can you tell us a little bit about
recent situation? The recent situation was relating to my staying in Grameen Bank, because the government came up with the point that I have overstayed in Grameen Bank because I was supposed to retire when I'm 60. And I'm 71 now.
So it's an age limitation.
That's
basically
what they finally found a way to get me out of the bank. That's what the whole intention. It's not
unfortunate.
It's unfortunate thing. So this is a kind of political issue that we have to go through.
Thank you so much, Professor Yunus.
Thank you.
It was an honor to talk to you, and I hope you have a nice day in the New York
Thank
City
you very
area.
much. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you again.
Thanks a lot.